Hello, hello, and welcome to yet another podcast of My2Cents. I was just listening to Bill Burr's podcast. I unfortunately I cannot listen to all of his podcasts. Sometimes I just try to find the week's highlights, but today I was able to listen to the whole thing. I did it when I was cooking slash doing the dishes, and I just finished because I'm between classes. So I'm gonna start my next class in just 2 hours. So I have enough time to record this. And the reason I usually mention Bill Burr, Louis C.K., maybe Dave Chappelle, Patrice O'Neill is that I'm really into stand up. In fact, one of the reasons I started this stupid podcast is that I usually get a lot of things on my mind whenever I'm listening to their stand up shows. Since George Carlin, I think stand up is has a lot to do with the way you see the world. And maybe if you get offended or if you laugh at anything, um, it shows who you are really, in a way. At least to you, not to other people. Other people think they'll know you because of your sense of humor, but I don't believe that. I think only you can know you if you're lucky. Certainly not easy knowing yourself. So, the past few podcasts, I tried to do something different. I tried to talk a little bit about myself. I talked about soccer. I talked about politics, obviously, in a very simple, very brief manner. However, today I wanted to do a mix with bridges. So, I really want to do is talk about some relationship situations that I found on Reddit that I found that would be interesting. And I'm trying to get the ones without that many uploads because then it's probably not that mainstream, but still important problems. Otherwise, people wouldn't be posting them. So, yeah, I've been thinking about doing something more mixed since I started this. This is the sixth episode of the podcast. Still with the same microphone. I know it's not the best, and I know my diction and prosody and pronunciation aren't the best either. But who knows? Maybe with time, this all will improve. This will all improve. Good. So anyway, I was listening to Bill Burr give advice to uh, this guy whose girlfriend thinks he's gay. And I've been through that my whole life. As I was listening to this 10 minutes, actually, I don't know if it was even 10 minutes, but this short section of his podcast, as he was giving this guy advice to just break up with his girlfriend because she thought he was gay. Apparently, this guy got bullied as a teen, as a child, because he's tall, skinny, funny looking, and he takes care of himself. He takes care of the way he dresses, and he takes care of his hair and stuff like that. He's a metrosexual, so yeah, people thought he was gay, so they bullied him apparently, which made him go to the gym, get jacked, get a lot of girlfriends, and his current girlfriend thinks he's gay. At least she keeps asking annually. And this resonates a lot with me, honestly, because in the past, I have been asked that question. Are you gay? Are you not gay? And honestly, this question kind of pisses me off because it shows that people just want to put a label on things. Why should it matter if I like men or women or both? Why should this matter at all? It shouldn't. You should just be happy, you know? And if you're a woman that is dating a man, it doesn't matter if he likes to suck cock too. If he likes you and he's with you, you should, just get over it. And the same goes for a guy that goes out with girls that also have been with women. Um, this is not a big deal. At least it shouldn't be anymore, right? We are in 2021, for fuck's sake. Nowadays, people do things that used to be taboo for the wrong reasons. And nowadays, we should be more welcoming of this stuff. So, my whole life, people always thought it was gay. It doesn't matter what I like for you, the listener. even though you are probably a person who knows me personally, so you know what I like. But in either case, it doesn't really matter. It literally doesn't matter, right? If you define yourself by the people you fuck, you are no one. This is what I think. You have no identity. It's like defining yourself because of your job or defining yourself because of your social media. Like, to me, it just means you have no identity, you know? Oh, who are you? Oh, I am an English teacher. I am a yoga instructor. I am a lawyer. You, all I hear is that I am an idiot. This is what I hear. Because if I ask you what you do for a living, this should be the answer. But if I ask who you are, you should be able to give me a simple question. You know, it's a combination of things, obviously. So you can say, yeah, my name is this, I do that for a living, my hobbies are this, and that. You give me a full answer. If all that defines your identity is just your job, I don't know. I just don't see that as a reassuring sign for you as a human being. To be honest, I think you should be a package of things, and in reality, we all are, but sadly, not everyone has this consciously. Um, and anyway, I've been called a fag and gay and homosexual and whatever else, essentially my whole life. Even long-term girlfriends of mine, let's say that, have thought that I was gay. All right, and yeah, I mean, I get it. Really, I do. If you know me personally, you know even better than what I'm just exposing here. But honestly, this is so stupid. It's just like if you are going out with someone and you are jealous because of a past relationship of that person. I mean, how insecure are you? You know what I mean? Like, this stuff should not matter. If you are with someone, you need to understand that it's that person's choice to be with you. It happened to me, it doesn't matter when, but it happened to me that I was really into this girl, you know, talking to her. We even got to the point to swap pictures, and I was really into her. And she showed interest in me as well. I remember that. And it's really upsetting, honestly, because out of the blue, at least according to me, this is my side of things, she just stopped talking to me. And I'm not sure why. I wasn't sure why. Even nowadays, I think about it. It wasn't that long ago. Even nowadays, I think about it and I don't quite understand it. And obviously, it's happened in the past as well when I'm into someone and the person seems to be into me as well, but after a while, they just vanish. There's just no sign of that person anymore. And I'm like, alright, this happened. It's unfortunate, it's upsetting, frustrating, it's just annoying. It's just annoying. Especially when you are an adult, you don't expect this kind of thing, especially when the person of interest is someone older than you. Then I'm like, okay, this should not have happened. And I remember as a young man, this used to happen, at least a few times it happened because the girl thought I was gay. So she didn't want to take a risk, so she just left. And this usually happened after the first date. If we got to a few more dates, she would know that I was into her, hopefully, and then nothing. We wouldn't have this problem, especially in first dates. It would happen where because maybe the way I talk, maybe the way I dress, even though close friends of mine, well, actually, I have a little bit of both. I have close friends that really think I'm gay, and close friends that know for sure that I don't look gay, and take that as you want. But it was annoying. You know, I remember how annoying and upsetting it is for a person to just ghost you. You know, this is, I think, what Americans call, right? Ghosting. Um, yeah, it's just unfortunate. And I remember since I was like a pre-teen, people used to think I was gay. I used to go to parties with my best friend. This friend lived in the same apartment complex that I did with my parents. I actually talked about him. He was the older brother, out of the three siblings. If you listen to the previous episodes, two previous episodes, I guess, episode 4. I don't remember if it was on episode 4 or 5, but uh, he was the oldest sibling, and he used to go with me to all kinds of parties, and a lot of these parties were from people at my school, you know, from elementary school up to high school. And I would always show up with him, and I would never try to be with girls in these parties. So at these parties, so people would just assume that I was gay, and this guy was my boyfriend, which is ludicrous. I mean, they never saw us kissing. They never saw us holding hands or anything. We were just talking and having fun together, and people just assumed what they think it was the most obvious thing. And honestly, I can't blame them. You know, I can't blame the judgment. I just blame the act of judging. I mean, why do we have to culturally? I'm not even gonna talk about just Brazil here. I think culturally we are bound to judge. We are bound to observe and jump to conclusions. And this is where prejudice come from. This is where racism come from. It's just people jumping to conclusions based on very little information, sometimes no information at all. So yeah, I think it's interesting, this behavior, because it happens everywhere. Let's make a bridge here to I'm an English teacher, as I told you guys before. Some of you are my students probably listening to this, and some of you, I'm talking as if there's more than one person listening to this podcast. But anyway, I remember I'm also a yoga instructor, and I used to do these presentations, you know, where I would go to a place, to inauguration. People would ask me to just perform, and I would do some positions, you know, just like theater, but without any words. Just me doing yoga positions. That is it. That used to be it. Some of my late colleagues, saying late colleagues like they are dead, right? They're not dead. I just don't talk to them anymore. But some of them still do this to this day, and they love it. Honestly, it was fun. I did this a few times. My last one was in 2019, and I remember. I mean, I'm not rich. I'm not poor. All right. I do okay. I think I do okay. And but I am. How can I say? This is relevant because we're talking about Brazil. But I'm really white. If you've never seen me in person, or if you've never seen a photo of me, which is good, I look like the cartoon here. This is really me. I'm just really white. And for a Brazilian, that's not very common, I suppose, because a lot of Brazilians are just a mixture of several races, you know. And yeah, I'm a mixture too, but I'm a mixture of Bulgarians and Hungarians, and that's it. And I guess there's some Italian in the middle. But anyway, um, my family is recent here in Brazil, I suppose, just 2 generations. Yeah, generations. Sorry, there's 3 generations of us. So this should be relevant for this because I have some black friends and black colleagues, and I had black students and just black people in general around me because we are talking about Brazil. So, if you know a white guy in Brazil that doesn't know any white people, that's probably not a very good sign, because if you if you live in Brazil and you have no black friends, it's probably because you're avoiding them. I'm not saying that having black friends doesn't make me a racist. I'm certainly racist in some things, even though I try not to. I try to learn every day. But anyway, it's not the case here. A little bit the case though, because a lot of people who look at me think I'm rich, right? Somehow, people, just like people associate black people with poverty, people associate white people with being rich. And even if you're not rich, which is my case, it has always been my case, people just assume that my life is easy just because of the color of my skin. Um, which, in a way, I don't have the same problems as a black person does, of course. So, in a way, it's true, but it doesn't mean it's easy. It's just, I get the privilege. All right, I'm not gonna deny it. I never felt the privilege, to be honest. I'm just gonna give you guys an example of that. But I understand people again judging, saying that I have these privileges even though I've never lived them. In fact, one thing that I notice about at least Brazilians, at least here in Santos or São Paulo, people, Santos is the city that I live, people tend to think that they tend to judge you. Actually, let me rephrase that. They tend to judge you based on your clothes more than the color of your skin. You know, at least in my case, because again, maybe it's a privilege that I'm not judged by the color of my skin, even though I am. I'm not killed by it though, so I get the difference. But anyway, I was at this place that was going to do a performance, and you know, if a place asks for a guy to do yoga positions in their inauguration, it's because it's for rich people, right? Only rich people care about these stupid things. I mean, don't get me wrong, I used to like doing that, alright? But come on, that's so pretentious. It's really pretentious. It is really cool though. It's really cool, but it is pretentious. Um, so anyway, I was part of the event, and I was going there after several classes. It was just before two yoga classes and just after three English classes. So it was in between classes. And I was actually doing a favor. I wasn't even getting paid to be there, so which makes it even worse. I got to the place. I was sorry, in the at their inauguration, and I was inside the place. It was like a house decor place, house decor shop, where you buy these design chairs, design tables. Yeah, judge it as you will. So anyway, I was there just minding my own business. I don't even think I was getting any food because I was going to do a performance, so I didn't want to have my belly full of food, you know. I was just minding my own business, and everybody was just looking at me and judging me terribly, you know. I was being terribly judged. And that day I felt all eyes on me for the worst reason possible. People really thought I didn't belong. And I think, you know, what I was talking about privilege a while back, I think it's a good thing. Not a good thing, no, sorry. Let me rephrase that again. I think that it was the first time for exclusion that I understood how privileged I was. Alright? Because every time I got judged by the color of my skin was people thinking that I had money. And yeah, people tried to rob me or just actually pick a fight with me because of the color of my skin, because they thought I was a rich kid and they got jealous, I think. Because if you're not rich, you are jealous of the rich. I don't know. I don't really know why these people got tried to pick fights with me in the past just for the color of my skin, but maybe it was because of it. And but usually people judge me for, you know, the better. Uh, I talk English. I talk English. See how stupid I am. I can speak English, and I'm usually with my phone answering some of my students or talking to some of my friends in English. I try to not do that in public because I know it's a little bit obnoxious. But for the way I look, and if the person hears me just speaking English, they will think I'm not from here. They will just assume, again, judging, they will just assume that I'm not from Brazil. And I usually get the good treatment for the judgment of my skin. You know, unless I go to a very, I don't like to use this word, but let's say bad neighborhood just for the sake of argument. If I go to a very bad neighborhood, a very dangerous neighborhood, you know, if I go to a very dangerous neighborhood, the color of my skin could actually harm me. But that's the only case. If I go to a bakery, if I go to the supermarket, if I go to the shopping mall, whatever, people just assume that I have money. Which is annoying, but it isn't dangerous. Most of the time, it isn't dangerous. But at that day, at that event, I got really upset because I was being judged in a very bad way because I was wearing simple clothes. I was wearing running sneakers. I was wearing I had a backpack, because I was coming from an English institute, going to inauguration, and then going to give some yoga classes. And I used to walk from one place to the other, and they weren't exactly neighbors. They weren't far because in Santos everything's close, but um, yeah, I had to walk a lot. That's why I had the running shoes. And I had a lot of clothes and books inside my backpack. I didn't bother to put another pair of sneakers because there was no space. So I couldn't go to this event all dressed up. I had some nice clothes I could have wore, but I wasn't being paid. It was just a favor. I was just going to go there and do my presentation, which I think people liked. They clapped by the end, and I was treated with respect by some people, but I remember the overwhelming feeling of being looked at, and of being judged in a bad way. This sucks. And as a counterpoint to what I was talking in the beginning of being judged gay, which I don't think is a problem, unless you are a male that is dating a female, and this female thinks you're gay, then it's a problem, alright? Because it means that you either suck sexually, not literally, of course. It either means you're pretty bad in bed, which is, kind of rude to say like that, or it just means that the person doesn't trust you. And this is annoying for a whole other set of reasons. So anyway, sorry. So anyway, I resonate with the guy that Bill Burr was talking, and it got me back to the idea of just commenting on relationship things. And I have two interesting ones. I'm gonna start with a short one, alright? Pretty short one. I'm gonna read the title. The title is the following: My wife had an affair with another man. And then the guy asks, is it strange for me to not blame him? And then he goes on and tells about the story, which I'm gonna read right now. I was devastated and broken after I found out, as one could imagine. I thought we had a happy, trusting marriage and family. I'm not a perfect husband, and arguably not even a good husband to some people's standard, but I never crossed the line that she did. I tried to blame myself in some ways that could lead to the affair, but in the end, I'm at peace with myself that nothing that I did that would justify her action. Long story short, he, also a married man, initiated it and she fell for his charm. It was brief and it never got further than kissing, according to them. Knowing my wife for more than 10 years now, I didn't think she would fall for something like this. She'd often talk about us growing old together and continued saying, I want to grow old with you after the affair. I'm still struggling to figure out how our marriage could be savaged. Um, I never blamed him for what happened. I even told him that his apology, which he did, to me was not necessary. I thought this was purely between my wife and me. Is it strange? What would you do? Mm, okay, well, always assuming these people are telling the truth for the sake of argument. There is no reason to wonder and think, oh, maybe this is too stupid to be true or something like that. I don't like to do it this way. I actually like to give it some thought. Listen, if it happened to me, and if it was just kissing, I don't think, oh man, I don't think I would just accept it. Really, it doesn't matter if it was just kissing. Some people think it's really worse. It's even worse when it's just kissing. I don't think I would simply accept it because here am I trusting you with all my heart, not doing shit, at least not anything that I shouldn't be doing, nothing that goes against our vows, our values, our vows, the commitment we choose to make to one another. And then I found out that you did something like this behind my back. How can I trust you again? You know what I mean? the person honestly just becomes untrustworthy. Um, I don't know. I would have to put myself in a guy that was married for 10 years. He doesn't talk about having a kid, so maybe they don't have a kid together. If I had a kid, yeah, I will put this behind us. It doesn't matter. For the sake of the kid, at least until the kid gets older, you know? A child should grow up with both parents, right? I think this is truly, truly important. And I'm not gonna ruin my child's childhood because of a kiss. A kiss is not big enough to ruin a childhood, but it might be big enough to ruin a relationship, I think. Especially depending on how it happened. The guy didn't get into too much detail here, so I don't know. There is a top upvote that has more upvotes than the actual post. So I'm gonna read that again for the sake of argument. The person says the following. This makes perfect sense. He didn't cheat on you, she did. While he was the person who she cheated with, he is not to be held accountable for her actions. It is really good that you recognize that. Most people wouldn't. A lot of people take everything out on the person their spouse has cheated with, opposed to their spouse, who is ultimately the one who may not have ended the marriage with their actions. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I agree with this guy. I didn't even address this because I didn't think it was worth it, but yeah, about your action of not blaming the dude, you're right. It's not about the dude. The dude could be anyone in the world. All right? If you have a wife or if you have a husband, people will hit on your significant other. All right? They will flirt. They will hit on them. This is perfectly normal. It's up to them to deny it, to just ignore it, to just move away from it. It's their job. And when I say their job, I'm saying if that's what you guys agreed upon. I have some friends that have open relationships. If you have an open relationship, this wouldn't even be a problem. You would have several other problems though. Don't think that a open relationship just solve all your problems. It does not. Trust me. But yeah, I mean, you shouldn't hold the guy accountable, and you should just hold your wife accountable. And honestly, you need to think about what you have to do. You need to think if you still trust this woman. If you do, yeah, keep dating her. If you are mature enough to move this behind you, then just go ahead and keep, not dating, sorry, keep married to her. But if you guys have no kids, and if you're finding yourself in a difficult spot where trust is concerned, just don't bother, man. I don't know how old you are. It doesn't says here in the post, but you're probably younger than 40, probably, right? So yeah, just just move on. Listen to an advice from a 29-year-old. You know, yeah. What do I know? What the fuck do I know? That's why this is precisely why this podcast is called My 2 Cents and nothing else. It's because it's simply my opinion. It's not like I hold the truth or anything. Alright, this was a short one. I actually have a longer one that I'm really looking forward to reading because the guy actually poses two questions. Alright, and it's an interesting topic for me because again it resonates. Okay, we are going to do some bridges with the subject I was talking before. This short story that I just read was just a break from it, but now we are kind of going back into the subject at hand. So, the title of this second story is the following: Girlfriend has slept with all of her guy friends, has lied to me in the past, and now I'm moving in. Oh, yes, yes, this is good. This is good because this happened to me in a way, especially this beginning. Listen to this, it looks like I was the one who wrote this shit 3 years ago. Yeah, I, 30-year-old 30-year-old male, have been dating my girlfriend, 33-year-old female, for 10 months now, and we are planning on moving in together next month. Yeah, it really looks like I was the one doing the writing, just by a few years of difference, but yeah, whatever. These past 10 months have been wonderful, but as the moving deadline approaches, I find myself questioning the integrity of our relationship. There are a few things she has told that I have come to discover were lies. I have not confronted her about any of them, only restated the importance of honesty in our relationship to me. I decided I could move past these lies, and it worked pretty well until now. I have met three out of her four close guy friends, all four of which she has had sex with. Three of them don't faze me at all. They are good guys and we've all hung out. However, the other guy really bothers me. Before we started dating, she told me guy 4 is the only other guy aside from you that I have been considered dating, but he lives in LA. She drove across the country in part to see this guy right before we started seeing each other. I got really mixed messages about how the trip went, and at the beginning of our relationship, I didn't hear much about guy number 4. However, now I see his messages pop up on her phone. No, I'm not going through her phone, and I asked her for some more info regarding the relationship. In short, she told me that when she went to visit him, he didn't really reciprocate the affection and was very judgmental of her actions. She told me she blocked him on Instagram. This one is confusing to me, but that she really values his creative inspiration and opinion. What the fuck? Wait. Okay. She told me that he got upset when he found out about you. So he got upset when this guy from LA got upset when he found out about the original poster here, the guy I'm reading from. When I asked her to explain, she said, quotation marks, he was upset when I told him he missed his opportunity, close quotation marks. Which, if you ask me, are two different things, but maybe I misunderstood. I just get the vibe. She tries to keep me out of the relationship. I was totally fine with all of that until this week when she said she was going back to LA. Oh. To be fair, she has multiple friends in LA and did not explicitly, said she was going to see guy number 4, but I have no doubt she'll see him. I have never lived with a partner before, so this is a big change for me. This is definitely a part of me that thinks I am looking to sabotage this move. However, everything around guy number 4 has made me feel uncomfortable from the beginning until now. And now that I've thought back about the lies she has told me, I'm not sure what to do. And then this guy, I have a lot to say about it, but let's answer his questions first, okay? Question 1. Are my feelings about guy number 4 valid? I'm not jealous about their past relationship, but something about their current relationships make me uncomfortable, which very well could be my own insecurity. But I question that because her other guy friends don't spark these feelings. Listen, alright, at least based on what you said, alright, I'm only listening to your side of things, so obviously I'm being biased here, but if it were me, I would really reconsider moving in with this person. Because listen, moving in with someone is not easy, man. You have to just share your life with the person. And for that to happen, in good terms, for that to happen peacefully, as peacefully as it can be to live with another person, you need to have full trust. And it really sounds to me that not only guy number 4 is the problem, she is the problem, right? You're not being able to trust her completely, and that is quite the predicament. If you're not trusting the person you are with completely, regardless of you having good reason or not, my man, if you're not trusting her completely, it's probably a sign that you should delay the moving in at least until you sort this out. Listen, I moved in with someone in a very short relationship when our relationship was very fresh. Let's phrase it like that. And the first year was hell. It was hell, and we had each other's back, and we loved each other. It was hell. Okay, so I cannot even imagine how difficult it would be for you, considering that you're not trusting your girlfriend completely. So this is the first issue. Let's see question number two. Am I nuts for moving with someone while I'm having these thoughts? I think I could suppress these feelings and move on, but I'm trying to avoid that and to be true to myself. I feel bad because I have asked to talk about guy number four a few times now, and I'm not sure what to do now. All right, cool. So again, guy number four is not the issue. It's your girlfriend. I don't think you are nuts for moving in. I just think you're rushing into things. Moving in with someone, even when you're 30, so suddenly, in a relationship, considering the relationship is less than 1 year old, and considering what you're going through right now, it's not a good idea. Really, not a good idea. Because a lot of things, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of changes you're going to make, you are doing all of that to someone you don't completely trust. So, it's not a good idea. You should delay it. You should keep trying to talk about guy number four. And to be honest, my dude, if she avoids talking about that, if she gets upset, trust me, alright? I've been through that. I have friends who have been through that. If she gets upset, if she says that you don't believe her, if she gets defensive, if she cries, if she screams, all of that shit are the worst possible signs you can get. It means that at the very least there is a lot of tension between her and guy number four. Sexual tension, obviously. Right? So delay it, wait for you to be comfortable with the situation or for you to have more information, which based on your post, you can't even completely trust her on this information. So I don't know. It's just too many variables, too many bad variables for you to be moving in with someone, my dude. I wouldn't, right? So let's see. Edit one. There's only one edit, so let's go. Ages and genders. Thank you all for the comments, advice, and validation. I have certainly made some poor relationship choices in the past, so that's why I'm uncertain if my feelings are coming from those past feelings and insecurities, or if this is really a bad situation. Some clarification about moving in. My lease is ending, and I would be moving in into her house, no lease. I know 10 months sounds absurd, but I really haven't second guessed it until now. My post makes it sound like I'm not enjoying the relationship, but it's quite the opposite. This is the best relationship I've ever been in, which makes these feelings feel shameful. Listen, no. You're being you're being real. It is difficult to admit that you are with the wrong person when you are having a good time. It is very difficult to admit that maybe you guys shouldn't move in together, or that maybe you guys should break up. It's fairly difficult to admit that, man. Yeah, I don't know. I know what I would have done because I have done this in the past. I would try to talk this through, and if unsuccessful, I would break up. If successful, then I would collect all the information that I have, talk to my buddies, talk to the internet like you're doing, and reflect on what the other people's opinions reflect on my own, and then make a final choice. This is how I usually make big decisions, especially if there's a lot of emotion involved, which seems to be your case. It seems to me that you are into this girl a lot. Like you said, the best relationship you've ever had, and you shouldn't feel shameful. You have very good concerns here, my man. If she's in love with someone else, and if this guy is trying to win her back, what the hell is going to happen with time? What the hell is going to happen 10 months in? What is going to happen 10 years in, even? What if you have a kid and then she runs off to this other guy? You're gonna be paying alimony for the rest of your life, or at least until she gets married. You know, this just seems shady. You are into look. You put yourself in a lot of risk already without any prior bad information. If you go to move in with somebody and it is just a perfect relationship, you're gonna have a very difficult time ahead of you. And if you have something like that going on when you move in, that, yeah, that's not good. There are some answers here. Yeah, one of these comments I completely agree. They say it like this. They quote something from the guy's post saying the following: am I nuts for moving in with someone while I'm having these thoughts? Then the person says, no, you are nuts for moving in with someone who is behaving this way and treating you this way. Your thoughts aren't the problem here. Which, yeah, this is true. uh, and a lot of people seem to say that she's not to be trusted. And listen, I agree. Your feelings for her are not based on guy's number 4 situation. They are based on sex, humor, conversation, situations, on her as a whole. But guess what? This guy number 4 is a ticking time bomb, I think, that is going to blow off in your face, and you are the only one who lose something because you won't have a place to stay. Like you said, this is her place. You will have a lot of your stuff at her house, and who knows, like I said before, maybe you guys have a kid together. Can you imagine how shitty that would be to have a kid with someone that just runs off with somebody else? You have this at stake already without having this without having a situation as shitty as this happening to you. So just imagine how it would have been, how it must be with you in this situation. It just sounds messy and absurd for you to be even considering this. I wouldn't, right? I wouldn't do that. Um, yeah, man, listen. Moving in with someone is the biggest decision you're ever going to do in your life. For the very moment you do to the very last moment you are with that person. That could be several decades, that could be several months. Uh, in either way, in either case, for it to be an enjoyable experience, you need to have full trust, which you don't have, and it isn't your fault. Okay? Uh, Going back to Bill Burr's gay, whose girlfriend calls him gay, and just making a parallel with my situation, I actually can resonate with both situations. It happened to me where I was going back in 2012. I was going to move in with a person, with a woman, a much older woman, and she really thought I was gay, and she was completely sure that I was sucking cock at college. She was completely sure. And listen, whether I do that or not is none of her business, but obviously I wasn't doing that as we were together. Whether I do that or not without her is nobody's business. But you know, if I'm with a person, I'm not going to be with anyone else, man or woman, or cat or dog or horse. It doesn't matter, you know, because I make a commitment. I'm a man of my word, you know. And she just saying that I was gay just showed to me that she didn't trust me. And surprise, surprise, she wasn't trustworthy. This ex-girlfriend cheated on me with another guy. You know, she just ghosted me for 4 months, which reminds me of the other story that I told you guys in the beginning of the podcast of another person that ghosted me, and I just wasn't expecting it, but it happened. Um, I remember I was ghosted from my I got ghosted from my own girlfriend for 4 days of no messages, no answers, no phone pickups, nothing. And then when she finally answers me, I wasn't like a crazy person trying to call, but you know, daily I would call her once or twice, and she would just ghost me completely. And when she finally picked it up, she admitted that she has been with the guy for those days because we always would call each other, you know. And the reason we were moving in was because we wanted to spend more time together. I don't know if this was her way of sabotaging herself, or maybe she wasn't happy with our relationship and this was her way of getting out of it. I didn't care enough to stick around to find out. I broke up with her at that phone call, and it puts together two things: a girl that I wasn't trusting, and thankfully she did that before we moved in together, because guy number four was this guy that she was going out at those days, during those days, probably even longer than that. Okay, it was this fella that I was very suspicious of, because she showed up from nowhere, and she all she would do is talk about this guy. She even slept on her couch for like 3 days straight because he was drunk, quotation marks. As I was there, I was sleeping with her in her bed, and this guy was sleeping on her couch. So he was already making his way in, and he had a girlfriend, right? He had a girlfriend who's got cheated on by her boyfriend, obviously. So, two things put together, two resonances put together in the final here, just to tell a shitty story that I had about really about 9 years ago. Yeah, essentially 9 years ago. The anniversary of this shitty thing, I don't remember precisely the date, but it wasn't that long ago. It was just a few weeks ago that it was 9 years. Our 9 year anniversary of the shittiest breakup ever. And listen, she's a good person, I guess. She wasn't to me, but overall she's decent. It's just our relationship wasn't working out. So don't let the girl you're with, the guy you're with, doesn't matter. Um, just treat you like shit, make you uncomfortable, and then make you think it's your fault. It's not, it's theirs. If a person cheats, it's 100% their fault. Oh, I could have been a better girlfriend. I could have been a better boyfriend. No, 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 no. Listen, the person that cheats is at fault, 100%, right? Uh, if you cheated and the person cheats you on you back, cheats back on you, just as an excuse. No, 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 no. 100% their fault either way, because the person could have just forgiven you or breaking up with you. Instead, they chose to cheat. Again, this is a choice. It's 100% their fault. So, if a person thinks you're gay, or if you are in a gay relationship and the person thinks you're straight, remember, this is a very bad sign for several possible reasons. And if you don't trust a person completely and you have just this doubt whether or not you should trust this person, it's probably because you shouldn't. Anyway, those are just my 2 cents for today.